Mike Ibarra, who's now working for Microsoft again, as Mastermind pointed out, yes.
Yep, he's back.
The sleeper agent there the whole time, allegedly. Allegedly by no one.
Well, the big thing he said, well, I guess we'll start with what's at the top of the doc.
Mm-hmm.
We know we need to deliver content to our players on a more regular basis and innovate both in and beyond our existing games. So what I want to do is I actually want to break these statements down slightly.
Yeah.
Because there's a decent amount that you sort of nested within this.
Mm-hmm.
So, regular basis. So this is basically, I mean, admitting that their schedules are all fucked.
Yeah.
And then also, innovate both in and beyond our existing games. So, if you don't take that into in, I mean, it does WoW innovate? Because we're still at the stage of, it's the same fucking format all the time. And, it's, can we recapture the Timeless Isles? We're trying!
Yeah.
Right. So I wonder if there's any way you can read into that across their games. Because like Overwatch 2, we already know it's innovating on Overwatch 1. Diablo 4, we already know how it's innovating on the previous Diablo. Hearthstone's just innovating all the time, basically, with all of its different game modes and ways to give you a give us money pop-up as soon as you log into the game for the first time in a few months, making you feel very overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So it's like WoW seems to be the one that's just kind of not really doing the big innovations. I just think they're a large enough company, all these engineering challenges and stuff they can overcome if they want to. They can do Player House at the drop of a hat if they want to. It's like, yeah, it's a hard engineering program, but also you're Blizzard.
Yeah, of course.
Come on, it's possible. So I think that's interesting. The next thing then, we have some exciting things to announce, and I'll be sharing more next week. So here's the thing.
Yeah. Oh, underline and bold, yes.
There's S. So.
Yeah, well, yeah, you look at this, it could be basically anything.
But an addition.
Mm-hmm. Go for it.
BlizzCon.
Oh, yeah.
In their BlizzCon statement, they said that while they're not doing one, they will be sharing updates.
Yes.
So, sort of in and around that time.
Yeah, because, I mean, that's the thing where it's like you look at things, and that could technically be, here's what we're thinking for Overwatch or Diablo. It could, I guess the worst case of what this could be is straight up, hello, I'm announcing things. It's technically plural if there's two. I'm announcing that Diablo Immortal is out this year on mobile. I'm also announcing that 9.2 is out somewhere at the end of February. Here's the date. And you're like, that's technically things, but I don't know if I'd consider them exciting things to announce or if they'd be particularly helpful to the overall engagement here.
I'll tell you what I would want to do in a situation like this is, I mean, depends what they have. Because if they say, hey, here's 9.2.5 epilogue patch. And here's a expansion teaser. Done. You find out more in 4 weeks. Or if they just go full on and say, hey, here's World of Warcraft, everything, we want to do a beta in this month. Like, that would be the way to actually stoke the fires, get people talking again. But obviously, the big question is when's the next WoW expansion going to come out? Because, tradition would dictate.
Yeah.
Well, normally, tradition would have dictated August of this year.
I think we could throw tradition in the bin.
But they're behind schedule. Now, not only are they behind schedule in terms of like the relative timings, they're also a patch doesn't exist. So even with a patch not existing, they're still behind schedule. That's how fucked the schedule is. Right, so if we were going to stick with the normal 2-year rule, it would mean November, but debt. Any time where it seems like they really need to delay a launch, like you're going to accrue, not technical debt, but you're going to accrue like production debt, whatever. And that'll have to be paid. So it just depends. Is there going to be a WoW expansion in 2022? Previously, it was just every 2 years as an expansion. Oh, these days we don't know.
Yeah, the rule book has basically been thrown out as a result of obviously COVID, but also the game's performance. Just anything like they shouldn't be looking at. Oh well, what do we usually do? That should be the last thing they're actually looking at right now. It should just be, well, what's best for the players, what's best for the game, and that'll be something I'm sure they've talked about at length internally when it comes to how do we actually get Shadowlands in the bin and get something new that people will like actually maybe it won't just be article after article on PC Gamer about how Shadowlands is a failure. Maybe there'll finally be some press. It's like, hey, this ain't half bad.
Yeah.
I think that's what that's probably what they want to aim for. But at the same time, it's like, when do we expect an expansion? 2023?
Early Q1 2023.
That's a long time away, but that's the right call. That's the right call.
It's probably going to be a year of patch 9.2. So the only way they can do that is they need to use the fuck out of time walking. They need to, if they can just, I don't know, an epilogue patch that just adds a reward system to time walking and, is not content intensive but does borrow some systemy people. Maybe something, anything possible.
Yeah, so I think that's maybe the, like, if you think properly outside the box, I think that's maybe the move where they go for a development that is actually not super normative, where you expect, okay, well, we'll get all of the new things in 10.0. Now, as to whether this is possible is going to vary heavily based on how they can adjust how they build things. Because obviously they build, they're going to be doing stuff now that's like really cool features, really cool like quality of life that we're not going to see till 10.0 because they're working on the 10.0 build. Yeah. And they can't just go, oh, we can take that out really easy and put it into the 9.2.5 that's really fun. But the idea of almost like a, here's the system early for the expansion, and then the expansion will double down on it, or, maybe the expansion's a bunch of new content, but the system keeps it alive. Like, so 9.2.5, this is a bit of a long sell, so you'll have to follow with me for a second.
Sure.
But the idea of revamp time walking, that is, like, basically this is what I would say to do. Get all of the World of Warcraft content that exists, build a system and build a reward system, build everything that can leverage that really, really hard. Then pump that in a late 9.2.5. That technically follows the, hey, there's no content in a 0.5 patch, but there is systems update, there is changes. Pump that, get the events cycle sorted out. Maybe you can get a way to return, the challenge mode dungeons from WoD and that time walking, fix all that stuff. Pump that in the 9.2.5. But all of those staff will then, you figure out how to work on 10.0 without the people that need to design that.
Yeah.
You get 10.0 as ready as you can without those staff. Maybe you have to hire quickly to replace them, but that's how you'll want to do it. Make 9.2.5 a big, big, big investment, big sell in the next, maybe 6 to 8 months. Then have an expansion 6 to 8 months after that. That really leverages the use of that and makes World of Warcraft not feel like, oh, there's fuck all to do to the next expansion. I think that's what I would do, and I think that's what they should do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's just the sort of thing where, the less your next expansion has a humongously daring, big new borrowed power system, maybe the more you can actually free up those resources.
Yeah, that's exactly the thing, where, like, you take all the systems designers from 10.0 systems that you might be working on, like, we need to get the engagement in. Pull them onto 9.2.5, something that's long-term instead of short-term, and there you go. You now have this... You have a long-term play that also helps in the short-term, which is kind of daring, and I don't know if they'll be able to physically get it to work, but I feel like that's the shot I would call if I were in that situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. As Debbie puts it, less systems, more stuff. Yep, that's 100% it. So... I guess there you go. There's an impromptu segment about what's next for WoW.